Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're really getting into it. We're looking at this modern feeling, this malaise, you could call it. Why life, even with all the tech, all the convenience, can still feel so, well, fundamentally empty for so many of us.
It really points to this collapse of inherited meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Our sources talk about the death of God, but maybe not in the way people usually think. It wasn't some, big public announcement. More like a slow, quiet dawning. This collective realization.
What realization exactly?
That, ultimately, nobody is responsible for us. Not anymore. There's no grand external framework telling us why we're here.
Right. And the moment that hits, the whole game changes. Suddenly, it's not about finding salvation. It's about finding a reason just to keep going, day to day.
Exactly. We've achieved incredible things, built cities, explored space, written libraries full of books. But that internal void, that big why, just seems to get wider.
And that's the paradox, isn't it? We've got almost everything figured out, technically speaking, except the reason. The reason to endure it all.
It's the core tension.
So, guiding us through this, we've got these two really powerful voices from our sources, millennia apart, but wrestling with the same thing. You've got Albert Camus staring right into the meaninglessness of it all. And he basically said, look, the only truly serious philosophical problem is suicide. Pretty blunt.
Very blunt, facing it head on. Then, completely different perspective, you have Marcus Aurelius.
The Stoic emperor.
Right, talking to himself really, but also to us, his advice. Do the right thing, then calmly await the results. Simple, but profound.
So two paths, existentialism and Stoicism, both asking, okay, what do you do when you realize there's no pre-packaged meaning waiting for you?
That's the question we're diving into.
Okay, let's start with that void. If the old beliefs, the metaphysical structures crumbled, what filled the gap? Because our sources are clear. Science, progress, all that external stuff.
Right.
It doesn't patch that internal hole.
No, that's felt, when the lights are off, when you're alone with your thoughts.
So what did Russian?
Well, it's fascinating. The void didn't stay empty. It kind of restructured itself, and new things rose up to be worshipped. You could call them the new gods of the 21st century.
New gods. Okay, like what?
The most obvious one, money. When that divine safety net disappeared, the promise of safety through wealth just took over.
But hang on, haven't people always chased money and power? Is that really new? Or just, the same old story with smartphones?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But the context is different. It's not just money as a tool anymore. The accumulation itself, the number in the account, that becomes the goal. It promises security, maybe even a kind of immortality.
Okay, I see the shift. So money's one. What else?
The second one. This one really costs us. It's attention.
Ah.
Yeah.
That feels very current.
It's become like a currency, hasn't it? A spiritual currency almost. Your status update is a prayer. Your filtered photo is a ritual.
And the like. That's the validation, the proof you exist, that you matter.
Exactly. And the transaction there is, well, it's cold. Our sources argue you're paying not just with your data, which we all know about, you're paying with bits of your soul, maybe. Sacrificing truth, authenticity, just to be noticed.
It's that paradox, isn't it? You desperately want to be seen, but in the process, you kind of become invisible to yourself.
Perfectly put. And think about what that does to morality, to virtue.
How so?
Well, under these new gods, money, fame, attention, morality gets pushed outwards. Ethics isn't about internal character anymore. It's a strategy. How you look, how you perform good behavior.
So good behavior becomes a tool for networking, maybe, and happiness is just something you buy, like a subscription service for feeling good.
Pretty much. A monthly payment for temporary relief. And the result, this profound loneliness, even when you're hyper-connected.
Right. Surrounded by millions on a screen, but feeling totally isolated. Because being noticed isn't the same as being understood.
Not even close. The machine, the system, it needs your performance. It doesn't actually need you, your authentic self.
Okay, so if we're sacrificing our authenticity just to be noticed, the next step feels like sacrificing our time, our energy, just to be useful. Which brings us neatly to part 2, this efficiency trap. Becoming a cog, basically.
Yeah, and it's a trap we often walk into willingly. The modern machine, society's machine, doesn't need literal chains anymore.
How does it bind us then?
Through fear,
Yeah.
self-imposed fear of being useless, fear of falling behind, that nagging anxiety that if you stop pedaling, even for a second, the whole thing collapses.
You see it in the daily grind, don't you? The rituals. Alarm clock jolts you awake, first thing you see, screen light. You measure your energy in coffee cups, your self-worth by how many emails you cleared, your entire value maybe by your manager's feedback or your KPIs.
Your emotions just become data points for performance analysis. Are you motivated? Are you engaged? Are you productive?
It's this paradox of performance. We talk endlessly about work-life balance, setting boundaries.
But then we secretly admire, or at least normalize, the 16-hour workday. Burnout becomes a weird badge of honor.
Why? Because being busy proves you're useful. And being useful in this system proves you exist.
That seems to be the logic, yeah. It's like Camus Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill forever.
Right. But it's Sisyphus with a smartphone and a deadline. The rock isn't just a rock anymore, it's the deadline. The overflowing inbox, the constant ping of notifications.
And you push it all day, every day. It rolls back down every night. And what do you tell yourself? Tomorrow I'll push it better, faster, more efficiently.
It's exhausting just thinking about it. Endless effort, but disconnected from any real deep sense of fulfillment.
And that's the toxic part. The ethic gets inverted. Relentless labor, sheer exhaustion is mistaken for virtue. But Marcus Aurelius saw this coming centuries ago.
What did he say?
He warned, essentially, if you lose the why behind what you're doing, then every action, no matter how perfectly executed, becomes meaningless. That cuts right through the whole performance culture.
So what happens when the why disappears? When the motivation just runs out?
You get an internal breakdown. Not necessarily a dramatic collapse, but that slow creep of emotional numbness. Laughter doesn't feel deep, sorrow doesn't feel real. You're just going through the motions.
Staring into the abyss, having ticked all the boxes, achieved all the goals, but lost yourself somewhere along the way. The death of meaning.
Yeah. But here's a crucial turn, according to our sources. That moment of meaninglessness, that collapse, it's not actually a mistake. It's not a failure.
What is it then?
It's an invitation, a really stark, urgent invitation. The universe, or just reality, is basically asking you, okay, there's nothing left to passively believe in. What are you going to do now?
Wow, okay. That's a powerful reframe. And that leads us right to the philosophical response, doesn't it? Because this is where existentialism and Stoicism, despite their differences, seem to offer a kind of unified path forward.
They really do. They meet right there, at the edge of that abyss you mentioned. They don't offer an escape from the absurdity. They teach you how to live with it.
What's the core idea?
Well, existentialism offers the revolt. That means looking the absurd reality square in the face, the reality that the world offers no fixed inherent meaning, and refusing to be crushed by it.
So you revolt against the emptiness.
Yes, by actively choosing and forging your own values, creating a self-defining life, as the sources put it. You make the meaning through your choices, your commitments.
Okay, that's the existentialist part. What about Stoicism?
Stoicism gives us conscious endurance. It starts by acknowledging, yeah, the external world is chaotic. It is often unfair. Much of it is outside your control.
So you just endure it.
Consciously. You endure by focusing fiercely on what you can control. Your internal state, your reactions, your judgments, your character. That's the Stoic resilience.
So one says create meaning through choice, the other says endure chaos by mastering yourself. How do they converge?
They converge on action and responsibility. When there's no external script, no God telling you what's right, every single choice you make, every correct action, it becomes a statement, a moral declaration.
A declaration to who?
To yourself, to the universe maybe? It's you saying, even if none of this ultimately matters in the grand scheme, I am still here. And I am choosing to act with justice, with courage, right now.
That really pushes back against that performance culture we talked about, where everything's for show.
Exactly. Remember that anecdote from the sources? The office worker?
The one who refused an unethical task.
Yeah. Silently, no big drama, no virtue signaling on social media, just quietly refuses, knowing it might cost them their career.
That feels powerful. In a quiet way.
It is powerful. It's pure resistance against the attention economy. Seneca nailed this centuries ago. Virtue doesn't need an audience to have value. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching, especially when it costs you something, that's the real victory. A quiet rebellion against the noise.
Okay, let's pull this back to someone listening right now. How does this translate into practical living? We usually think freedom means doing whatever I want, unlimited options.
Right. But Stoicism flips that script completely. True freedom, for the Stoics, isn't about having unlimited external choices. It's about internal mastery. It's knowing which limits are actually good for you. They called it temperance.
So not being controlled by trivial stuff.
Precisely. If your happiness swings wildly based on your stock portfolio or whether someone replies to your email or how many likes your post gets, you're not free. You're enslaved to those externals.
Seneca said something about wealth, didn't he?
He did. Wealth is not in having much, but in demanding little. That cuts right against consumer culture, which tells you happiness is always one more purchase away.
So freedom is about wanting less, needing less from the outside.
And strengthening the inside. Modern culture tells us the soul needs comfort, ease, constant satisfaction. The Stoics said the opposite. Virtue is like exercise for the soul. It needs resistance.
Hardship is an internal gym. I like that.
It is. Every difficulty is a chance to train your character, to build resilience. The goal isn't to avoid hardship. It's to develop the inner strength to handle it with grace and reason.
Inner sovereignty, that's the term, right?
That's the goal. The world outside can throw anything at you. You might lose your job, your health, people you love. Epictetus was clear. Those things happen. But your response, your judgment, your inner fortress, that remains yours to command.
So misfortune is just a test.
A test of character. Can you maintain your integrity, your dignity, even when things fall apart externally?
Like that example of the father who lost his job.
Yes. He keeps his morning rituals, makes the coffee, reads the book, stays present for his family. Not because he's denying the pain or pretending it didn't happen.
But because he refuses to let the loss strip him of his fundamental dignity. He controls what he still can control. His actions, his routines, his character.
That is freedom within limits. Deep freedom.
Okay. So let's try to synthesize this. It feels like the core idea is powerful.
It is. The meaning of life isn't some grand secret hidden somewhere waiting to be found, especially now when those old structures have collapsed.
So where is it found?
It's found in your capacity to take responsibility for the meaninglessness itself. By consciously choosing, day after day, action after action, to live with those core virtues, justice, courage, temperance, wisdom.
You remain free, even if you lose everything else the world values.
Precisely. Even then.
We've looked at how Stoic control and existentialist self-creation kind of meet right at this point. The conscious choice to act virtuously, whether the world notices or not, whether it rewards you or not.
So if you're listening to this, maybe late at night, wrestling with that void we talked about, just remember this. No one, no book, no podcast can hand you the meaning of your life. But you're writing it right now, every day, with every choice, every action. How you choose to endure, that's where the meaning is forged.
So you're not defined by the emptiness.
No, you're defined by how you choose to respond to it, your conscious responsibility to it.
So the real test isn't finding some final grand answer.
Not necessarily. The real test, maybe the only test that matters, is, do you choose to get up tomorrow morning and continue? Do you choose to act with intention, with integrity, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when it feels pointless?
That action, that choice to continue.
That is the answer.